There is a foreboding sky on the horizon.
Okay, so everybody brace legs. Today we're going to talk about one of the hardest blast beats known to man. This blast beat kind of feels like there's a train coming and you're in the way. And you're probably not going to make it out of the way by the time you need to. The thing that makes it sound like a beast is the fact that your feet are going really quick. In fact, they're going twice as fast as we've been going on previous blasts. So, here we go. Alright, for a quick review, your right hand is going to be doing the normal technique of your blast technique or flying fingers or whatever you want to call it, just like this. By this time, you should know, after you've practiced the previous blast beats, that this technique on your hands that we've talked about in the detour lesson before and the previous blast beat lessons, your wrists are pretty much stationary. I mean, I'm not moving them at all. And yes, of course, you're going to have some wrist movement because obviously your hands are moving really quickly and, you know, you're not just a stiff board here. But most of the movement comes from your fingers. Now, again, go back and watch my detour lesson on holding sticks and it'll explain exactly how to hold sticks for the blast technique. But anyways, like I said, this is a more advanced blast beat and requires elements from the previous blast lessons, so go back and watch those, get those down, and then come back to this video. My previous blast beat lessons, the double bass has actually been following along with the snare. This time we're actually going to be taking those same double bass hits that are matching the snare and doubling the time. So, if you slow this down and practice it very slowly, you can get the feel of what the beat's going to sound like. And then after you speed it up, it's going to, it'll feel weird at first, but once you got that double bass speed going, you know, you're just going to fit right in there. Just plowing this clipper ship through the ocean. Okay, so here's how your hand's going to be counting. Your left hand is going to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the hi-hat. That's your left hand. Your right hand is going to be counting sixes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Simultaneously, this is what it's going to sound like. You're going to have the 4 count here and the 6 count here. This left hand is actually going to be what keeps your time for you, and that's what I do. I kind of pull myself along with this hand because it's kind of like a driving metronome for me. So I've got this metronome going. Over here I've got my sixes, and now here's where the hard parts comes in. In previous blasts that we've been working on, the double bass is following the snare like this. A really good way to practice for this is just to work with your right hand and your feet, kind of isolating this area and leaving out the left hand until later, because when that comes in it kind of complicates things. But anyways, this allows you to build up speed and kind of understand the relationship between the bass and the snare during this drum beat. Your bass is actually going to be doubling the time of the snare. So if you get your snare going and you feel comfortable with that snare going at that speed, then start throwing in the double bass in there, and it's going to sound something like this. And remember, you're doubling the time of the snare, and you're going to be striking one time at the same time of the snare and one time opposite of the snare, and I'll show you what that's going to sound like. That seems easy enough. Now just add the sixes in there, the 6 counts, so you're going to be hitting 6 times on the snare, and you're counting 4 on the hi-hat, so it's like this. Now, believe it or not, that was the easy part. The hard part is speeding this drum beat up. Now basically, if you've got pretty quick hands, you're not going to have much trouble with the hand part, but the feet part on this particular blast beat requires you to go really quickly for this whole blast to sound right. So here's what it's going to sound like sped up. So notice my feet are moving a whole lot faster than before. That's just something that's going to come with time. You really can't practice for this overnight. This is one of those things where you might want to just sit down at your desk or wherever you're at school and just go left, right, left, right, left, right. I play heels up. I don't believe in playing heels down. I know I get a lot of questions about that. I do not play heels down ever. And even with the slide technique, it requires me to play heels up. I feel like you get more power and more speed that way. So when you're watching this and you're seeing the speed, the high speeds on the double bass down there, I'm playing heels up. Hey, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I know you can do this. Just keep practicing. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. You know how I work. I will answer very quickly. But anyways, yeah, hang in there. Start slow, work fast, play heels up.